Hello everyone. So in our previous video we saw that how we can remove a key from hash table via an animation. So in this video we will see the algorithm via an animation and we will see that how it works step by step. So before we start, in case if you are new to my channel, then please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon so that you never miss any update. So here you can see that this is the algorithm to remove a key from the hash table. So let's see the demonstration of it step by step. We will take the same use cases which we discussed in our previous video. So when we will call table.remove and pass the key as 105, the remove method will be called with the key 105. Now at the first step what we do is we search for that key, and how we can search for that key is first we get the bucket corresponding to this key. So we call our hash function getBucketIndex. We pass in the key and it returns us back an index by dividing key by buckets.length or number of buckets and return us back the remainder because it has this modulus operator. So here if we divide 105 by 10, we get remainder as 5. So this method will return us the bucket index as 5. Now what we do is, we have got the bucket index and we know that key 105 will lie at this bucket index. So we simply access the hash node at this index, which is 5 here. So the first hash node is nothing but our head, and there could be n number of hash nodes. So head will point to the first hash node. Now in order to keep the track of the previous hash node, we simply assign it with the null. And why we keep the track of the previous hash node, we will see later. So we are providing this while loop which is pretty much same what we saw in our previous videos, that we are trying to search the key first. So currently head is not pointing to null, so this condition comes out to be true. We check whether head.key, which is 105, is it equal to the key which we want to remove. So here you can see this if condition comes out to be true. So what we do is, as soon as we find the key which we want to remove, we simply break from this while loop because we have found our key and now it's time to remove that key. So when we break from this while loop, it will come here, and here we encounter one use case that head could point to null, so which we will see later. So currently head is pointing to a hash node which is not null, so this condition comes out to be false. So now here you can see, as we want to remove this node, we will first decrease the size by 1. So size will become 2. And after that we encounter a if else block, which is very much important because here if previous is not equal to null, so this is the if condition. If previous is equal to null, it means we are trying to remove the first node of the list. Let's say if we take this example, and if head is pointing to this, so previous will point to null. So it means we are trying to remove the first node of this list. And if previous is not equal to null, it means the key which we have found is somewhere in the between of this list. So that use case we'll see later. So currently you can see previous is pointing to null. So our if condition comes out to be false. And the else part will be executed. And here we want to remove this node from the list. So what we do is, and we know that this is the first node which is being referred by buckets array at bucket index. So in order to free this node, we need to remove this link. We will assign head.next value to buckets array at bucket index. So the hash node referred by bucket index, which is this, instead of pointing to this node, it will simply point to head.next because we want to remove this node, and this node can also have other nodes. So we can't directly break this link. We simply assign head.next value to this index. So currently for this use case you can see head.next is pointing to null. So here we simply break this link and we assign head.next which is null. So it will point to null. And here you can see after this method gets end, first we return the value associated with it, which is John, and once this method will end, this node will be garbage collected. So it would look something like this. Now let's suppose if you want to remove a key 21. So first we'll find its corresponding bucket. So 21 divided by 10 will give remainder as 1. So the bucket index is 1. So we simply access the hash node at bucket index 1, which is this node, and there could be a list, so we assign head to this node because this is the first node of the list. We create a hash node previous, and at the start we assign a null value to it. And now as we want to remove the key 21, so we search in this list using this while loop. So currently head is not equal to null. If head.key equals the key which we want to remove, then this if condition will come out to be true. So here head.key is 31, it's not equal to 21. So the condition in if block comes out to be false. So this is the key, we are comparing it with 21. And as this condition is false, we will reach here. So usually we search for the key in complete list. So for this node, the key didn't match. So before going to its next node by assigning head.next to head, what we do is we simply keep the track of this node. Because let's say if we find this key here, then we can use the previous node and we can simply remove this link here so that this node can be freed up. So before moving head to its next node, we assign the value of head to previous. So it would look something like this. And now we simply move head to its next position by assigning head.next to head. So head.next is pointing to this node. So via this link, head will now point to this node. Head is not equal to null. If head.key equals the key which we want to remove, so head.key is 21 and 21 is equal to 21. So this condition comes out to be true. And here we know that we have found our key which we want to remove. So we simply break from this while loop. We first simply check whether head is equal to null or not. If head is equal to null, then we simply return null. So currently head is not equal to null. It means we need to remove this key, so we first decrease the size by 1. Size becomes 1. And now here you can see previous is not equal to null. Previous is pointing to this node, therefore this condition comes out to be true. So why we provide this check is, if previous is equal to null, it means we are trying to remove the first node of the list, and if previous is not equal to null, it means the key which we have found is somewhere in the middle of the list, because previous is providing that information to us. So in the if part, what we do is, we need to remove this link, and we can't directly remove this link because head.next may point to the other nodes. So what we do is, we simply assign head.next value to previous next. So it would look something like this. That now previous.next is pointing to null. And why we did that? Because let's suppose if there are n number of nodes after that, and we want to only remove this key, we don't want to touch other nodes. So to whatever value head.next is pointing, previous.next should point to that node. But here it is null, so previous.next is pointing to null. We will return the value Tom, and this node will be removed from the hash table. Now friend, let's suppose if we want to remove a key as 31. So we calculate the bucket index. 31 divided by 10 will give remainder as 1. So 1 will get returned from our hash function. So bucket index becomes 1. We access the hash node at this bucket index, and to whichever node it is referring, that will assign to head. So head will point to this node. At the start we do previous equals null, and then we search for our key. So we check whether head is equal to null or not. So head is not equal to null. So the while loop will start. Then we provide a if condition to search for that key. So if head.key equals the key which we want to remove, head.key is 31 and the key which we want to remove is also 31. So this condition comes out to be true. It means we have found our key. We break and then we check whether head is equal to null or not. So head is not equal to null, it is pointing to a key which we want to remove. And before removing the key, we decrease the size by 1. So size becomes 1. And now here you can see previous is pointing to null. So the else part will be executed. And in the else part you can see that why we are doing head.next. In use case 1, head.next was pointing to null, but here you can see there is possibility that head.next is pointing to other nodes. So we can't directly break this link. So to buckets array at bucket index we assign the value head.next. So now this link will be removed. And as we are assigning head.next to it, this will point to this node because head.next is this node. So it would look something like this, that we are assigning head.next value, which is this node, to buckets array at bucket index. So now here you can see this node can be freed up easily by returning the value Sana. And if we rearrange it, it would look something like this. So here we removed a node and we saw the importance of doing head.next. Because we can't directly break the link, this link, we need to assign it head.next so that it should refer to the remaining nodes of the key which we want to remove. So friends, one last use case is this use case where we want to remove a key which is not there in this hash table. So we'll calculate bucket index. 88 divided by 10 will give remainder as 8. So bucket index is 8. We access the hash node at this index. So here it is pointing to null, which means head will point to null. We create previous and we assign a null value to it. Here head is pointing to null, so it means this condition comes out to be false. And here, as head is equal to null, it means that size remains the same and key is not present, so we simply return null. So in this video we saw that how we can remove a key from a hash table, and we saw the demonstration of the algorithm step by step. I hope you have found this information useful, and in case if you have found this information useful, then please like this video. If you are new to my channel, then please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon so that you never miss any update. Thanks, have a nice day.